What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another gold nugget that you can either pick up or you can kick it aside. Now, many of you all don't know I'd served 20 years in the Air Force, and I had an opportunity to work in different headquarters and space commands, defense intelligencies. But, there is something going on behind the scenes that very few of you all know, and that is really the friction that is building against America and China. Now, many, they have heard about Taiwan, that China believes that Taiwan is their land, part of who they used to be, and they want it back, kind of like the Ukraine and Russia. But the interesting thing is that China, who is building up a heavy presence in the ocean and also in the airways, is causing a hysteria amongst the people of Taiwan or even America. Now, just recently, Japan have an island that they have allowed America to go and utilize for training. Now, the old military guy knows when training happens, it means preparation. And when you go through preparation, that means there are potential things that might be coming down the pike that you may be involved in. I hate to use the word war, but I do know that because of this buildup, China, they have their troops out there on land, in the air, in the sea, underneath the sea, doing all kind of trainings. How does that affect you? Well, let's check this out really quick. You see, this information that I am showing you, you're going to see that America is going through trial bases or scenarios. And if there was a war with China and Russia against America, you have to decide on how will you be able to fill personnel if there are casualties that happen. They are doing these trial bases of filling in. If 3,800 troops die, how do you fill in those people? Interesting enough, watch my next video that I do, because it's about the selective services or the military draft. Why I say watch that video? Because there are exemptions that will help you, your son, your daughter, your grandchild, from entering into maybe a war that you feel you may not should be part of. It's also going to expose those so-called government delegates or those so-called congressmen who evaded the Vietnam War, and yet they are serving the country, in a sense, being the heads over you. But let me educate you on a few things, because the mainstream media will not tell you this information. As things begin to unfold, unbeknownst to you, there will be lotteries that happen. What is a lottery? Well, I'll talk more in depth about the military selective service lottery for the draft and pulling you in. But while you're sleeping sound and secure every night, these votes happen at the house, the big house, if you will, in how they're going to go ahead and build up a force and able to take on if something happens or has a potential to happen when it comes to the war. America has already recognized China as being a heavy threat, a serious threat, because of its mobility in other countries, trying to gain leverage in many African countries, or even they have just recently tried to go ahead and reestablish a sea territory that is theirs. Now, as you see how China is little by little making headway in trying to establish a foothold, not just in the air, but also in the ocean. This will benefit them if then when the time comes for them to try to take over Taiwan. Or let's say even further, beyond that, that even if there is conflict against America, they will also have the advantage over the military bases that are there in the surrounding countries. Now, little did you know that, yes, America's got 400 plus bases around the globe. And its nearest bases close to China are South Korea. They have Japan. They have Philippines. They have some of the other Asian islands. They have many of locations that are near to where China is, so that then they can go ahead and set up air strikes from the fighter jets that would come in and try to overtake China. But China's going to try to, let's say, offset that by trying to strategically place itself in these other areas that it can go ahead and fight back if it comes to that. Now, we know that everybody is on pins and needles there, whether it's the military generals, whether it is China or Russia, because nobody is really in a rush to start wars that cost lives and cost a lot of money, especially when Russia and Ukraine is going on against the rest of these allied nations that are part of the NATO. But I'm saying, family, it is time for us to be vigilant, be sober, because your adversary, the devil, the evil one, is roaming around seeking whom he may devour, or recruit to go in to the military to fight for their cause. Yes, you know, in the Vietnam War, it had a large percentage of minorities that they took and put into harm's way. Many died. 66,000 troops died in the Vietnam War, and many were poor white people, poor black people, Hispanic, and any other nationality. But guess who was not all involved in all that? You guessed it, the rich people who got money. And I will talk about the exemptions that they used to keep their sons and daughters out of entering into drafts, so they didn't have to go and fight wars, who are now your politicians, who are cowardly, staying away from trying to get their children drafted in to a military that might cost their loved ones their life. This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another nugget that you can either pick up or you can just kick it aside.
Think about it, think about it, think about it.